Oh, there I am. Okay, hi. Hello? Can you speak for a little bit, hon? There you are. You're
Hello.
showing up cool. Perfect.
Okay, we got it right this time.
Because I saved my settings from last time. Hi, every pony.
Oh yeah, that'll help. Hi,
Uh,
every pony.
Welcome to Horsin Around, a Friendship is Magic retrospective. I'm Pearl. This is my lovely co-host, Riley.
Hello, my name is Riley. My favorite pony is today's favorite pony is the great and powerful Trixie.
Yeah! We got to the Trixie episode.
Oh man,
Sadly,
finally got.
sadly, she is the last one we're going to talk about.
Well, it's best for last.
Yeah, save best for last.
That's actually true. I think in these episodes.
Oh. We're going into this in a weird mind space, not to time ourselves, but we just watched the Xbox and PC showcase.
Yeah, it's this week is Summer Games Fest, which is primarily what
Has replaced
I guess
E3.
I watched the PC Gaming Show on mute while I played 100 Line, to be honest, and it was still depressing. That's not what we're here to talk about.
We're here
We're
to
here to
talk
talk about
about
Hasbro's bad choices, not anybody else's bad choices.
We start with episode 4 of season 1, called Applebuck Season.
This episode was written by Amy Keating Rogers. I believe this is her first writing credit in the show
Yes.
so far.
And
We'll see her name come up a lot, I think.
a lot.
A lot. She takes over the main slot after season 1, right?
She becomes
Is
the
that
main
her?
right.
No, that's Megan McCarthy. I'm thinking. Of.
She becomes like a she's
She's
like
like one of the main subwriters.
yes, one of the main subwriters.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, first episode that focuses on Applejack.
This episode is poorly conceived. Did you know? Here's a fun fact of this episode I found out today while I was doing my write up and stuff. The original iteration of this episode was called what was it called? Wait, where did I write this down? I wrote this down later on. This episode, okay, the original conceit for this episode, which the conceit of this episode off the bat is that Applejack has to do what will from now and forever be referred to as apple bucking, which is when she kicks the tree and all the apples fall down, and then that's how they because she runs an apple orchard, right?
Yes.
In the original conceit of this episode, it was called apple bumping, which would involve instead slamming your fucking skull into the tree to make the apples fall down. And the conceit of this episode was essentially that she was giving herself brain damage.
Horses don't do that.
So, by and large, the plot of the episode would remain largely the same, in which she would, over time become more fucked up. But instead of her being overworked, it's because she was giving herself concussions. I guess she was just giving herself straight up brain damage, and they changed that.
Horses know a creature known for ramming headfirst into things.
I don't know what they were thinking there. I think that conceit must have changed pretty early on in the show, considering that Applejack is shown apple bucking in the opening, in the OP of the show.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know when exactly that conceit changed. But there's your fun fact this episode. She would have been just slamming her head into trees for 14 hours a day. That was the conceit of this fucking episode. There's also a cut. There was a scene that was cut of her helping, she gets scenes with most of the other main six in this episode to demonstrate how far gone she is. She did have a scene with Rarity, but it was cut in this episode.
Damn, that's
don't really
next.
have any details about it. We'll get that. We'll run that back later.
We'll run it back. The episode begins where harvest season coming around, y'all. You know what that means? Gathering every apple across the whole fucking 100 acres we own.
Can I? I know it doesn't matter, and nobody was thinking about it, but harvest season has started now. But in a couple of weeks, it'll be winter wrap up.
I mean, I guess it makes sense because harvest does usually begin around autumn, I guess.
Yeah, but there was no winter episodes.
Yeah,
We just time skipped to the
we
end of
times
Winter.
they didn't think about winter.
Yeah, we didn't want to draw it. Yeah. Not Applejack. Big Mac has this very rare speaking lines in this
The
episode. Quite
most
a lot of
he
them, actually.
the most he ever speaks until like season 5.
Yeah. And then I had to change my note because originally I wrote like, oh, Big Mac is formally introduced here, being like explicitly stated to be Applejack's brother, which previously don't think I don't think that was completely made clear previously, which doesn't matter.
She just said her family members' names, not their relations to
Yeah,
her.
she said her family members' names. Her like at this point, I mean, Granny Smith's Granny Smith, but like Apple Bloom still hasn't been introduced yet, and Big Mac was not established to be who he actually was, and he hasn't spoken yet. In like episode 1. And so this scene establishes who Big Mac is and that he's her older brother, presumably. You know, it'd be funny if he was younger than her, actually.
Yep.
That's not true, but it would be so funny. Why is Applejack like in charge of why is she like the like head of the house, for lack of a better term? Why is it not Big Mac? Is it because just because he's a man?
Because he's a man, and this is
because they live in a female dominated society.
because they live in a matriarchy. That's why.
They live in a matriarchy, so he wouldn't be the head of the family because he's a man.
Mm-hmm.
Asked and answered. He speaks a lot in this episode. Just in the first part.
I don't know why the writers thought to just make him a joke character later on when he just speaks normally here.
I don't know. I have no idea at all, to be honest with you, why that happened. Also, in the beginning scene of this episode, there's when Mac is trying to explain to AJ that it's just like not statistically likely that she'll be able to do the entire orchard by her fucking self.
Mm-hmm.
She accuses him of using fancy mathematics, which I think led to an early interpretation of Applejack being kind of stupid.
Yeah, I mean,
seem to recall that in sort of the earlier days that the fandom interpretation of AJ before we got more of a better read on sort of her character was that she was kind of dumb, or at the very least not like academically intelligent,
Yeah.
which is probably the implication that we're supposed to be getting here, but is not true later in time.
Did Applejack go to school?
Probably not. I mean, she was probably like homeschooled by.
By Granny.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Apple Bloom gets like a real education and shit.
We'll think.
Like Apple Bloom goes to school.
We'll figure that out. We'll figure
it out later. I don't know if Applejack's been formally educated. She clearly can read and write and is like, again, she's the head of the family, so she's in charge of finances and things of that nature. She seems to be relatively very intelligent, like she seems to be able to intelligently handle money later down the line. So I don't know what the implication was there, but like we didn't think about that yet.
The main crux of this episode is Applejack's character flaw, where she's very prideful.
Yeah, this is one of the very few episodes that are Applejack-centric where she's clearly in the wrong. Usually going forward, most of the time Applejack's episodes are not about her being wrong. In fact, that she was right the whole fucking time, and everybody else was wrong, which is the lesson she learned in the Flim Flam episode in season 2. Which has always led to this, like most Applejack. I don't know if I'm just like, if that's a fandom thing or if that's actually true. I guess we'll find out as we keep going. But I feel like my memory is that most Applejack episodes are in fact about her not being wrong. Usually she's right.
There's this one, and then the one in season 2 that focuses on her. Every other episode about her is just, yep, she's right.
Applejack's right. Usually somebody else is fucking up and it's her problem to fix. Or she'll just be like, you know, in somebody else's episode and she'll be like, I tried to tell you.
I'm always honest.
I'm trying to tell you right now. I'm trying to tell you right now. This is like what her main role in most Twilight Sparkle episodes. Just trying to get Twilight to like chill the fuck out.
Applejack is by far the most grounded member of the main 6.
She's the most mature one of the bunch for sure, despite her age apparently. Where are we with this episode? Oh yeah.
we're at the cows, which is the weird part.
Oh boy, I wrote a couple of notes about the cows. Yeah. So after Applejack decides that she's intent on farming the entire farm all by herself, like in 2 days for some reason, um, her cows get out and they stampede towards Ponyville, and Applejack heroically saves the day with her cow wrangling. And then the cows start talking.
The cows are sapient.
The cows are sapient, and it's implied
they willingly allow ponies to corral them.
It's implied in this episode and in Ghostbusters 2 episodes from now that those cows do live, for all intents and purposes, are, I don't want to say the property of Sweet Apple Acres, but they certainly do live there and seem to be not treated like how ponies are.
Are they paid?
Are they? I don't know. I mean, are they employees? Are they do they have rights? Like, this conversation gets really uncomfortable very fast.
This is why they phase out cows from ever showing up again in later episodes.
Because like many things in season 1, this was not thought through very well. Because they didn't care at season 1. Like, they didn't know what they were going to be. Like, they didn't know where this show was going to end up going. And so they were just like, yeah, there's cows, and the joke is that they talk. That's it. And then they didn't think that adults would be watching the show and be like,
hey.
Why... In Ghostbusters, it's implied that maybe they're kept for their milk. Is Twilight milks them in that episode?
But since they're sapient, why don't they sell their milk themselves?
Yeah, I don't know. Because it's like, I don't know. It's really weird. It's kind of scary, and we're just going to ignore that.
We're going to ignore it.
We'll also ignore that going forward.
We go a week later to where the town wants to award AJ for saving them all.
Oh yeah.
We get one of the first major meme faces of the show.
Oh, the Applejack one.
Yep, I put it on screen.
Yeah. Oh, here it comes.
Also,
the dashy one.
An animation error as well.
Yeah, with Twilight's fucking black eye for some reason.
Yeah.
I actually forgot. I must have blinked when this happened. I forgot that she did this, man. This was a This was a
early era fandom meme.
One of the OGs. One of the OG memes here. Also in this scene, world record. A world-shattering event happens in the scene. Derpy returns in this episode, standing next to the pony that we've decided to from now on call Dr. Hooves on account of his somewhat slight resemblance to Doctor Who actor David Tennant, and the fact that at some point down the line he does have an hourglass cutie mark. You didn't see it here. I don't think that's till later.
And now these characters are forever linked.
These characters will be forever linked. This would influence several fan works, including at least one high production audio podcast, or audio drama, I should say. There are many depictions, fanfics, art, audio dramas of Doctor Who's depicting Derpy as his companion of choice. This will be... I don't think the two of them together are ever extensionally referenced in the show as being any kind of people who know each other or whatever. And also it was 2011, so Doctor Who was hot then. Of course, in the fandom space. Again, when we're saying fandom space, mostly at this point talking about Tumblr and shit. But of course, it was other places.
This was mainly 4chan, and then in 2011 it spread to every other place on the internet.
When it became a Tumblr thing, when ponies invaded Tumblr, this is when the Doctor Who stuff started to catch on, because I don't think 4chan gave a fuck about Doctor Who. Also, later in this episode, we'll get to it later, but since we're on the topic of Derpy does appear again this episode with normal-looking eyes, and this is in the Pinkie Pie scene with the muffins.
Yep.
And she says the word muffins.
And Derpy perks up when she says that word.
So I watched the scene like over, and it's so what it is like in these early episodes of My Little Pony, most background ponies did not have voices, or especially not like voices that belong just to them. Usually they'd be like crowd murmurings, or sometimes one or two of them would have like an offline that was probably Tabitha Saint Germain. Um,
Probably.
in this episode, in this crowd shot, when it's panning over the crowd and they're all murmuring and sort of making noise, you can clearly hear the word muffins being said, and it looks like it's being said by Derpy,
Yep.
which would provide her a lifelong association with muffins.
The fandom decided the girl loves muffins.
Yep, just because it's that thing that I don't know if people still do this, but if any character ever referenced a certain kind of food, that would just become like their only character trait to some people. This is what happened to Derpy to some extent. Yeah, a guy who mentions bread once kind of thing. Yeah, she mentioned muffins once in a scene where lots of other characters were also interested in muffins. For some reason, that became like her fucking thing. I don't know why.
Yeah. It just did.
It just did. And
The fandom just latched onto it.
Yeah. I think in some merchandise she was referred to as muffins for like a minute or something like that.
She's been called muffins. She's been called bubbles.
When Hasbro was having cold feet about using Derpy or Ditsy Hooves or whatever the fuck they used to call her, there was like a PVC statue line that came out like a long time ago. It was like a Hot Topic thing, and there's like Rainbow Dash was in there and like some other shit, and Derpy was in it. But on the packaging of the box, where it would say the character's name, instead of that, it would just have a picture of a cutie mark. Actually, they just didn't give her a fucking name. They just were like, it's the one with the bubbles cutie mark.
Yeah.
What does her cutie mark mean?
I mean, I think her talent is that she's just clumsy.
She works in the mail service.
Yes, she is a mail pony. She is a courier.
Anyway.
We go back to the award scene. Applejack then appears that she has not slept for days. I understand this.
That's real shit, honestly.
And we find out Applejack has agreed to offer her help, despite being so busy, to all her friends, because she thinks she can do all the work and get it done.
Because she's the element of generosity. Wait, I've just been handed a card. That's wrong. She's the element of honesty. I'm just finding this out now for the first time. Do you see why this used to be a discussion back in the day about which one of the two of them should actually be considered the element of generosity?
How maybe the elements got mixed up.
Maybe the elements got a little mixed up. She thought. Well, the thing is that AJ usually is her. Most of the time, she is in fact her.
Most of the time, she is.
That scene also is the first reference to Sugar Cube Corner, which we'll see later in the same episode, as in we'll meet the cakes as well for like 2 seconds. There also is a really good audio-visual joke where AJ, when they give her the big stupid trophy, she just like scrapes it on the ground for like 10 seconds. There's a really funny bit.
There's the joke of her and Pinky just staring into it, and then the fucking scraping against the ground right after.
That's a really good scene, honestly. And Twilight is like, Applejack seems not okay. And Pinky's like, nah, she seems fine to me, man.
This episode is where the writers start to shine in their comedy.
Yeah, this is the first funny episode of the show, I think.
We go to
the Twilight scene.
We go to, let's see,
the Twilight scene, and Twilight goes to Sweet Apple Acres to try to find out what the fuck's going on with Applejack, because she's like clearly like not good.
And then like, fuck. Then here is another meme from this exact era.
Oh boy, let me see it.
There we go.
Stupid. Oh, I forgot about this one. Why is she so gray in this image?
I don't know. This this meme was like spread across the whole entirety of 4chan when
This
Applebuck
is
season aired.
probably the first. This may be a lot of people's first exposure to My Little Pony. Like unironically,
This might be one of the first
many
like
people
viral
may have
memes.
first seen this image and be like, "What is this? I don't care," and then like forgotten about it, and then came back later like unaware. Um, This scene, if anyone keeping track at home on Twilight Sparkle's ability to use magic, this scene does include her using teleportation magic multiple times.
She's learning.
Without any side effects this time. She does it in a short-term capacity, and it does take her a little longer than it will later to like charge the spell and cast it. But she's not setting herself on fire anymore, so she's learning.
It's just she studied off screen and got good at teleporting. Let's see, next scene. Is it the cakes or is it Rainbow Dash?
Oh, you know what? I think it is Rainbow Dash. I just didn't write anything about the Rainbow Dash scene.
I wrote down the Rainbow Dash scene. It's my favorite joke in season 1, I think.
It's it's a pretty good joke, actually. The whole bit is pretty good. This is a real slapstick heavy episode, actually.
Applejack has agreed to aid Rainbow Dash in learning a new trick, and it's to launch her off a catapult.
Yes.
And
A ponypult, if you will.
A ponypult. It has given us my favorite GIF of all time.
The really good the zoom in. They do a really good setup in this joke, and Applejack's like, "Isn't this fucking dangerous?" And everybody's like, "I can fly, dude. It's cool. It's good, man."
And then Applejack uses her fat ass to send her flying.
Send her flying across town, smashing a fucking Twilight's house, which is also a good joke.
Oh, where Twilight Twilight's sitting like a cat.
She's sitting like a cat reading book. The funniest thing about Twilight, whenever we see her reading, she'll be like reading a book, and she'll have like 2 other books next to it.
What if she gets bored of reading the first book?
Like is she like double handing the books, or is she just like going through 3 books in one sitting like every day?
I can believe Twilight can speed read. I believe that.
I believe it. Just some light reading. It's like 3 novels, like 3 tomes.
Now we get to the cake scene. Go ahead.
Yeah, the cakes. Let's say like Rainbow Dash. Like is like Twilight. You need to do something about
Twilight
this.
girl. You gotta solve this, girl.
Like Twilight is like, "Are you good, man?" And she's like, "I'm good." You need to do something about Applejack, though. Like, why is that my problem?
Like, I just moved
Twilight,
here.
You're the fucking element of friendship. I mean, magic. So, why don't you go? You go fix this shit. I don't know what to tell you, man. You fix this shit,
girl.
You go fix it, man. I don't know. Then we meet the Cakes very briefly, Mr. and Mrs. Cake. They don't really learn about them.
They don't get any characterization yet.
Them. They don't get characterization for a long time.
Long time.
I think he works for them. I don't think it's elucidated in this episode that she also lives with them.
Not yet.
That's really not important. Yeah. We meet them very briefly. They will play basically no role in any episode for several seasons. They're just characters who exist.
They exist to be side characters.
There's a difference between background ponies and side characters, and they're what we would call a side character, and that they have clear designs that were like made by somebody with intent and purpose, and they have voice actors and stuff, but they serve really no purpose in most situations. Kind of like Mayor Mayor shows up like a lot in this season. She doesn't really ever do anything.
Just to move the plot forward.
Or just to, just spit off a line or whatever. Just to give is there a lot of scripts in season 1 especially where it gets kind of egregious that like the only speaking characters are the main 6? I think Ghostbusters is like that, except for Snips and Snails. It's like nobody else talking. Except like them and like Trixie and Snips and Snails. It's fucking egregious. They
They didn't have a budget yet.
didn't have a budget, and they didn't have a budget, and they didn't have character designs and stuff like that. So it's no problem. When I was watching those episodes, especially, we'll get to that later. But like in scenes where there's like crowd shots and stuff, if this was in a later season, there'd be a couple of other characters who would just have like bit parts where they would just say something, so you could get sort of like more of a well-rounded like scene where like, oh, there's other towns ponies,
Like,
contributing to the conversation, even if they're saying something stupid.
like
later in
later in this episode, you can hear the main voice actresses trying to do different voices for background characters.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
Pinkie Pie scene. They have to make muffins, and again,
They make
just
toxic.
another really good joke.
Oh yeah. The bit in this joke is Pinky asks, what do you have so many gifts?
This is a video clip.
What do you video?
Because the clip is important. Oh.
Awesome. Pinky asks Applejack for various ingredients, and she only hears like half of it. And so she gives her the wrong shit. Pinky's just too dumb to check on it, right?
Pinky doesn't care.
She doesn't shit.
Like they make it
Applejack knows what she's doing.
They make it a character trait for Pinky later on that she will eat anything, but she does not have an iron stomach, so she will regret it.
She will suffer the consequences, but she won't regret it.
Yeah.
Spike, on the other hand, does have an iron stomach, apparently.
He does.
He's a dragon, I guess. He's literally eating, like, poison.
Yeah.
There was a worm in one of them. Where did the worm come from? That's what I want to know.
AJ's worm powers.
She put a worm in there.
So
just one worm.
This is where it's like, ooh, earth ponies are really good at growing crops. So that must mean AJ can like summon worms, I guess.
Yes, certain earth ponies have worm magic. That's not true. In fact, worms would be a bad thing in her line of work because she grows apples.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see those guys, I think.
Not really. Not in an apple orchard.
Applejack causes like so many people to get sick that they had to set up like a trauma ward.
This is where we see the average citizen in Ponyville is an idiot. Because they're horses.
This is where we see that the average citizen of Ponyville has to put up with too much bullshit from these people.
Yeah.
It's every week one of these morons is doing something to all of us, just making our lives worse. We have to put up with it. We have to put up with it because they have the mandate of heaven.
They're the bearers of harmony. We have to put up with them.
We literally we can't tell Pinkie Pie that she's annoying because Celestia handpicked her to be one of God's emissaries. And so we can't say anything when, like, Applejack poisons all of us or whatever. Sorry, hoof-picked. I don't know what a hand is.
They don't know what a hand is.
Well, Spike has hands, I guess.
After that, it is...
I think
Go ahead.
The name of that city is called Manhattan.
Manhattan.
And I don't know what New York is. The city you're referring to is Manhattan. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is AJ is helping out Fluttershy. And,
the bunny.
And terrifies all her bunnies.
Bunnies, we have to do a census of the bunnies.
I'm Fluttershy. We have to do a census of the rabbits, of the bunnies.
I like... At this point in the episode, Applejack is so sleep deprived that she's getting, like, bitchy.
I've been there. I've been there.
Fluttershy's like, we have to be very gentle with the bunnies or they'll die. And Applejack's like, shut up, bitch.
Shut up, I'm gonna
tell me what to do.
I'm gonna yell at them and get my dog who could kill them maybe to help me corral them.
Get my fucking dog to chase them. No, I want to make it clear, Pabs. There is no boroughs. The city itself is just called Manhattan. Like that's the whole city, man.
Yeah, the whole city
There
is
is no
called.
fucking New York City. It's just they don't know. They don't have yokes.
They don't have
I think.
yokes. No wait,
Who's gonna be
Big
riding
Mac
them?
wears a yoke.
Why does he wear a yoke? Oh, because it's like farming equipment.
Yeah, it's farming equipment.
Uh, let's not get into that.
Then we get a scene that replicates the cow stampede with the rabbit stampeding through Ponyville.
Yep.
And
people died.
we get what is known as background characters known as the Rose Sisters because they grow flowers, and they are
Rose pretty much.
and they are is Tara Strong and like Tabitha Saint Germain trying to do different voices.
Trying their best to do different voices. These background characters don't crop up very much in terms of speaking roles. I think
Their whole
show up
thing
on
is that
occasion.
them crying, "This is terrible, a disaster,"
Oh yeah, that was like a season 1, season 2 bit.
and fainting.
They didn't really catch on very much, did they?
No,
The fandom.
not with the fandom or the writers.
No, the writers didn't really care about them much, and I think that's just because the fandom didn't really care about them much because their bit was like it was funny, but like it was like not a bit that anybody was really interested in doing. I don't think it left any room for anything else in the character or whatever, and they didn't have anything like, for lack of a better term, they were not very memeable. They didn't have a meme or anything, and so it just didn't, or like like a really standout good design for no reason. It just didn't catch on anywhere. I think there was a toy of Rose, like one of them. But there was toys of lots of those weirdo background ponies that like didn't have names or whatever. And then Twilight is like, okay, Applejack, like you gotta stop. You're killing me here, bud. Applejack's like, I did it. He's like, you know what? Fuck your intervention, because I did the whole thing all by myself.
I did it all by myself.
I did it all by myself. I'm the best. And Big Mac is like, actually, that was only half of it.
That was only that was half of our orchard.
That was half of the orchard. She's like, I'm done. I give up.
I give up.
She's like Twilight. I give up, man. You were right. I can't
And
do it.
and then Twilight proves she could just do it all by herself.
Yeah, it's such a, it makes Earth ponies look really bad. Yeah,
Twilight literally just
why
picks.
are we apple bucking the trees when Twilight can use magic? I mean, to be fair, not every unicorn can do that.
Yes.
In fact, probably most unicorns couldn't do that. Even the best of the best. Well, she's the best of the
And
best.
then-
Yeah, she did sorcery mog her by like picking every apple off of like 40 trees all at once.
Twilight uses
like,
her
minimal
telekinesis to pick up hundreds of apples all by herself.
But telekinesis is one of Twilight's strongest suits in terms of magic, so
True.
it's not like Rarity could do that because she didn't.
Yeah, she did it.
Like they've never shown a unicorn farm pony. I think
All Earth ponies have mostly just been farmers.
It's all Earth. Well, because their magic, right? So like Pegasus have like their magic is that they can fly, right?
And control
And
the
like
weather.
unicorn, their magic is that they're better than everybody else. And Earth pony's magic is, why did I let you make me an Earth pony again?
I
Earth
asked
pony's
you.
magic-
I literally
Yeah, I
asked
know,
you.
but I don't know why I. You know what? I'm coming out. I'm actually a Pegasus. The wings are just under the jacket.
All right. Next episode,
Alright.
I'll draw wings
Next-
on you. How about that?
Next season we'll fix that. It's because of the joke. It's because of the joke pony edit. The little Twilight edit. Do you remember the TBH pony? And we edited that to it. Anyway, Earth ponies' magic is that they're good with the land or something like that. It's very nebulous, to be honest.
Earth ponies get two things. One, they're strong. Two, they can farm.
Generally, they're physically stronger. I don't know if that's really canon or not, but the general consensus, at least fanon-wise, is that Pegasi are relatively physically weak in terms of like raw power or whatever.
It's like again, I'm just gonna state the comics, which you don't consider canon.
Oh,
but I do.
okay. Well, that's B canon. I'll take that over fanon.
In the canon, like in the comics, like Like there's a moment where it's later on in the series, like issue like fucking 80, where Applejack has to
okay.
get physically into a fight with Twilight, and she kicks the she kicks the shit
Wait,
out of Twilight.
like Alicorn Twilight?
Alicorn Twilight.
That scrawny ass nerd. That's a bad comparison because Twilight is a scrawny ass nerd.
And then Twilight wins by using magic, of course, but
Fucking cheater. God damn it. You know,
And-
it's
oh, go ahead.
it's always funny that Twilight's ascension to an alicorn is framed as a unicorn getting wings, and she doesn't inhabit really anything regarding Earth ponies at all.
She's just a weak nerd.
She's just a weak nerd. She
Even
couldn't
even
that's
after
the-
becoming a god.
You know, we'll get to this way later, but it really is the funniest bit in season 3 that Twilight can't fly.
Yeah.
She didn't just inherently learn how to fly when she got wings. Like, she had to learn like a normal person. Fucking awesome. Anyway, this episode wraps up with everybody helping Applejack. Twilight's lesson that she learned is to not be a stubborn bitch. I think.
Hey, Twilight called AJ stubborn as a mule, and then a mule said none taken. No offense taken. Was that racist?
Yes, that was a racial remark. But this isn't the same episode where we established that cows are like subhumans, so let's just forget that existed too. There will be a real mule character. No, he's a donkey, isn't he?
He's a donkey.
Oh, well.
Season 2.
Season 2. Is that season 2?
Yep, season 2, the Pinkie Pie episode.
Oh my god, that was season 2? That felt like... What an episode that was. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that eventually.
What an episode that was. That was a real... I feel like that was a real turning point for fandom, in a good way. One of the only times I'll ever say that this was a real turning point for the fandom and say, in a good way.
In a good way.
In a good way. This episode was funny.
This
It's just
episode
a comedy episode.
was legitimately funny.
It's just a comedy episode. It's a comedy of errors episode about AJ fucking up everybody's day because she's stubborn.
Yeah.
Um,
Then we move on to. Do you have any more remarks for?
No, that's really it. It's one of the few episodes where AJ has a character flaw. It's a pretty good one for that alone.
We move on
As an
to
AJ
episode 5, Griffon the Brush Off.
Griffin the Brush Off, written by Cindy Moreau, who is not a writer I recognize, so probably not a very big one.
We begin with nobody likes Pinkie Pie yet.
Yes, this episode, 5 episodes into the season, we finally established that Pinkie Pie is annoying.
It
And
begins,
established firmly that the main 6 are not all best friends with each other.
Not
And
yet.
Some of them don't even like each other very much.
Rainbow Dash doesn't like
like-
Pinkie Pie yet. Twilight doesn't like Pinkie Pie
Twilight
yet.
doesn't really like Pinkie Pie either. Like, she clearly, like, puts up with her to a point, but as soon as she has an opportunity to just... That's, like, Twilight's almost only interaction with Pinkie this episode is be like, as soon as she leaves, you're like, whew, thank God.
Oh,
Sucks.
Twi-Pie in shambles right now.
Twi-Pie in shambles here in in episode 5. Twi-Pie doesn't really kick off until the Pinkie Sense episode, in my opinion.
Pretty much.
And Twilight has to come face to face with the fact that, with the face of God, frankly. And she stares into the soul of God, blinks.
This episode begins with, like I said, no one likes Pinkie Pie yet. Rainbow Dash is literally running away from Pinkie, and she's doing a Looney Tunes bit of chasing her.
To the Looney Tunes bit where Dash will break the fucking sound barrier, running across town to get away from Pinkie, and Pinkie will just be there already. It's a really good Looney Tunes bit with Pinkie. Dash literally does call Pinkie Pie annoying to her face.
She calls her annoying.
She's like, "You're annoying. Go fucking leave me alone. I hate you." It's so good. It's so awesome.
And eventually Pinkie Pie catches up to her and convinces her to do the thing with her, which is she loves to pull pranks.
Which is a new character trait for both of them. In this sequence, so they do a sequence where they go around pranking characters. They prank Spike, Twilight and such. In this sequence, I did write down that for some reason in the script, Pinkie Pie says someone instead of some pony at one point, which is factually wrong.
There'll be a couple of those in season 1.
Not how you're supposed to talk, man.
You gotta say some
it's
pony.
someone. Unless you're explicitly including Spike or a non-pony in the statement, which she wasn't. You're supposed to say some pony. It's slipping up. It's crazy. This is pretty much established to be the first time that Pinky and Dash really like legitimately spend time with each other. And Dash warms up to her pretty fast after finding out that they have something in common.
Rainbow Dash says, Pinky, you're not as annoying as I thought.
Heck, I thought you were fucking annoying, but I can see that you are pretty cool, actually. And then that's right, Pinky Dash, it's going nowhere, baby.
It goes nowhere. This is their only episode together.
This is the only time that they've ever been like on screen, just the two of them, I think. It's like, and like usually when it comes to episodes where the other characters are sick of Pinky's shit, usually Rainbow Dash is the most sick of her shit. This episode's like in like season 3 and stuff, when everybody's just like, God, Pinky, we're so fucking tired of you, dude. And it's usually Rainbow Dash saying it the loudest.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's awesome. It's awesome. There's an important bit where they don't prank Fluttershy
because Fluttershy is she's so sensitive and weak-hearted.
She's so sensitive. Pinky really goes out of her way about Fluttershy in this episode because Pinky Shy is real. I guess
it's just a lot of people know that Fluttershy is scared of her own fucking shadow. So
well, it's the fact that what I got from that scene was like, Rainbow Dash immediately like relents. She's like, oh yeah, you're right. We can't prank Fluttershy. That would be cruel. Again,
like Rainbow Dash has known Fluttershy since childhood.
But she has known Fluttershy her whole fucking life, and still had to be reminded that Fluttershy is a delicate soul, and she will die if they spray her with water.
It's because Rainbow Dash is a shithead.
But Pinky, like, it's twice in this episode. We'll get to the second part later, where Pinky, like, is like, you can't fucking do that to Fluttershy, dude. Like, we'll get to it later. I'll bring this point back up when we get to that part.
Pinky has to protect women. She knows this.
She knows this. You kind of think, watching the first couple of minutes of this episode, you kind of think that the conceit of this episode would be that Pinky and Dash end up going too far with their pranks and become a nuisance, and then they learn a lesson. That's not how it happens.
It changes entirely in the scene transition.
Gilda the Griffin shows up.
Gilda the fucking Griffin, and I have it in my notes here. Gilda and Rainbow Dash absolutely fucked when she stayed over the night.
That was crazy. The absolute 180 that the plot does in this episode, just like straight like they're like, okay, cool, we'll hang out. Let's hang out some more. And like Pinky goes to bother her again like the next day to hang out again, and then Gilda, and the whole plot just flips on its head. It was really crazy.
I want to assume this is where they wanted to start introducing other races that live in Equestria.
Well, they failed at that, I'm afraid. Pinky doesn't know what a griffin is.
Yeah, Pinky doesn't know what a griffin is.
Everybody else seems to be at least aware enough to not question her in public as to what the hell she is. Pinky didn't know what a griffin is because
she grew up on a rock farm.
She did grow up on a rock farm, and so we'll forgive her for that. I don't think Pinky's been educated. Like, kind of thinking of it.
I don't think she was educated.
I went to school. I don't know if she's been educated at all. So she doesn't know what a griffin is. Gilda the Griffin debuts in this episode. She would become a pretty instant fan favorite. I mean, maybe not fan favorite is not quite the term, but she was certainly a source of some level of fan fascination, I suppose. A
fan fascination for what lives beyond just horses in this world.
Yeah, she represented a broader scope to the world, and more to the point, I think she represented a kind of character that it's only 5 episodes in the show, but a kind of character that we haven't seen yet. As we'll see later in this episode, Gilda does not get redeemed. She does stay a shithead.
A complete bitch.
She does stay a shithead and tell Dash to fuck off, and then like never comes back for 4 seasons. I think part of over time the sort of fascination, I guess, with Gilda is just that she never returned. She would return in season 5, 4 years later.
4 years later.
But over the years, season 3 is when the great powerful Trixie would reappear. Over the years, as she did not appear and kept not being there, I think people started to be like, what happened to Gilda? Because it definitely seemed like the episode was left open-ended on purpose, which we'll get to later when we actually discuss the end of the episode. But Gilda does not show up for a long time after this, and I think that the fact that she didn't show up again led to kind of people being like, well, I want to see Gilda again. Because we got to see Trixie again in season 3. I want to see Gilda again. What's she got going on? I don't know, because I never watched those episodes.
Where's the butch who's mean to me?
Basically, the rest of this episode is, well, like, the next, like, 5 minutes of this episode is Gilda becoming progressively annoyed that Pinky is trying to third wheel. Pinky is clearly cock-blocking her. It's very quite obvious that
Gilda wants
Pinky's
to hang out with... Pinky wants to hang out with Dash because she's romantically interested, probably. And Pinky
Gilda
just keeps... Go ahead.
Gilda doesn't want this Earth Pony here. Gilda wants to hang out with Dash in various ways of describing that situation. And she does not want Pinkie Pie around. She's clearly being cockblocked. It's very obvious to anybody that Gilda does not. In this sense alone, I do think Gilda is somewhat entitled to her behavior. She clearly wants Pinkie Pie and clearly communicated to Pinkie Pie to buzz the fuck off. I'm trying to fuck Rainbow Dash. Go away, man.
Leave me alone.
Leave me alone! Like, who are you? I don't know you. Go away! Gilda's introduced as Rainbow Dash's old friend from, what did she say, flight school?
Flight camp.
Flight camp, which is different than the thing we see in the flashback later, because Fluttershy doesn't know her.
Maybe Gilda didn't give a shit about Fluttershy.
Well, Fluttershy didn't know her though. You think Fluttershy would remember it, Griffin?
You would think, because maybe they went to she never came back to flight camp. Who cares?
Who cares? Anyway, they're clearly old friends. There's a song that a quote unquote song that's not actually officially registered as song in terms of like what the show considers to be songs. It's really just them kind of saying things in a lyrical tone.
Because Rainbow Dash thinks it's cool, and Gilda's like, sure, for you, anything to get that pussy.
Yeah. Piggy Clocks blocks Gilda until Gilda tells her to fuck off definitively, and then she goes to see Twilight Sparkle. Why? I don't know.
Because she considers
everybody
Twilight
just
her
runs
friend.
to Twilight with their problems at this point, right?
Yeah.
And Twilight Sparkle has the fucking audacity to diminish Pinky's problem.
Again, because they're not friends yet.
Tell her that she's overreacting and that she's annoying.
Don't gaslight Pinky.
She gaslights Pinky to be like, well, like she goes to Twilight. She's like, I think it's like Dash's friend is kind of mean. Like she broke my stuff and she said a lot of mean things to me. And Twilight's like, maybe you just misread the room, man.
Maybe you just maybe it's you, Pinky.
Maybe you're annoying.
And she sighs in relief when Pinky leaves.
She really hates Pinkie Pie in this episode, man. I don't know. It's so funny. She does apologize later, at the very least.
Everyone's
so
mean to Pinky.
Everyone's so mean to Pinky. There's a bit where Gilda causes some trouble around town. Like, she steals stuff.
Gilda literally says, "Hey, I'm walking here."
Hey, I'm walking here. She gives Granny Smith a heart attack. She steals from the apple cart. And she is mean. She like yells at Fluttershy in public, and that seemed to be the last straw. That was not excuse me. It was explicitly the last straw for Pinky. She's like, you can be a bitch to me. You can steal shit. You can try to kill an old woman.
You can't be mean to Fluttershy.
You cannot be mean to Fluttershy. Not in my fucking watch. And so she concocts this whole plan strictly off the basis of the fact that she was mean to Fluttershy. It's incredible.
They throw Gilda a welcoming party to Ponyville.
They throw Gilda a welcoming party. I gotta say, she's not here to stay. She wasn't moving in, guys. She was just here for she was just here to visit.
Did they think she was gonna move in with Rainbow Dash?
Yes, they were like Rainbow Dash. We all are very supportive of your lifestyle and your choices. She's like, what the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about?
This begins a bit in the fandom where they're like, "Oh, Rainbow Dash isn't gay."
Oh yeah, it's that in the next episode with the rainbow and the Trixie stuff.
Oh,
It was a bit I would let's say bit is being polite.
it's polite. It was homophobia. It was homophobia.
There was a definite backlash against the idea that Rainbow Dash was a homosexual, a lesbian, if you will, by a lot of male fans, I presume. Because she's because like look at her and listen to how she talks.
Listen to what she does and how she talks and her portrayal and how much she loves women.
Ashley Ball knew what she was doing.
Ashley Ball knew what she was doing with Rainbow Dash and Applejack.
She was doing that on purpose. It wasn't a mistake. Like she was doing it on purpose. She saw a character named Rainbow Dash. She was sporty, and was like, "Yeah, this is a dyke.
This is the dyke.
Thank you. I will be playing her as such." I don't want to put that in Ashley Ball's mouth. Actually, I have no idea. But I'm just gonna assume, based on 9 years of watching the show, that's how Ashley Ball chose to play the character. Anyway, there was definitely a meme-ish backlash regarding Rainbow Dash not actually being gay. Didn't really stop anybody, I think. I don't think anybody ever took it seriously.
No.
I probably maybe some of the people who wanted her to not be gay took it seriously, but I don't think anybody else actually took their shit seriously.
Oh.
I was hoping Rainbow Dash would settle down. That's right. With a griffin. With a mean griffin.
With a mean griffin.
There's lore in this episode. Do you know there's lore in this episode?
Yeah, the best joke in the episode.
I'm older than you. I'm a year older than you. There's Piggy's like what I love about Fluttershy really is that while she's of course very shy and sheepish, and that generally comes across as her being polite. She's not really actually a very polite person.
Fluttershy can be a little bitch when she wants to.
She's kind of bitchy when she wants to be. Pinkie goes, Fluttershy goes to Pinkie Pie. He's like, I don't think really this is such a good idea, this party thing. Pinkie like puts her fucking like hoof on her head and was like, don't worry, Annie Pinkie Pie's got this. And she immediately, like as soon as Pinkie touches her, she gets really annoyed. She's like, I'm a year older than you. And then just that's the end of the conversation. But that is the lore, was that she is a year older than, at the very least, Pinkie Pie. My interpretation of this has always been that Fluttershy is the oldest of the 6 of them.
Yes.
In the flashback episode, you can clearly see that the other 5 of them have like the Cutie Mark Crusaders age design. And Fluttershy is like taller and lankier than the rest of them, which either implies she went through a growth spurt earlier than them, or the fact that she's a year older than all of them went through her growth spurt because of that age difference. A
lot of people. Yeah. I choose to believe these are all women in their 20s.
I choose to believe that at this point they're in their early 20s.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Like, I remember like watching videos and like reading lots of like not discourse, like, but like discussion around where the character age is supposed to be set. And someone like, oh, they're teenagers or like whatever. Like, okay, but like you'd have to accept, like, it doesn't matter really what their numerical ages are. It's really about how old they are societally speaking, right? Like,
Rarity owns a shop.
Rarity owns a business. Applejack is old enough to be the head of her family and to be the most responsible person in her family. Like, she is running Sweet Apple Acres. She is like being, she's like being an adult. Like, she's the adult of the house. Like, Big Mac is an adult too, and he's clearly older than her, probably.
Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash live on their own.
Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash live on their own. Rarity literally runs a business. Like, Pinkie lives with 2 other adults, but I don't think that means that she's like.
I think it's part of her job. Like,
it's just part of. She just lives there. Like, she lives there because she needs somewhere to live, and because Ponyville is that kind of place. Like, Twilight Sparkle is clearly an adult. If anything, the biggest argument would be that Twilight Sparkle is young because she's like, relatively like naive and inexperienced. But it's mostly a conceit that they're all. It's a conceit that they're all pretty much the same age, except for Fluttershy, and that they're all are. If they're all at least Rarity's age, then they're all legally adults. Like they are all adult women who are capable of like living on their own and being adults. Because Rarity literally runs a business.
They actually confirmed Rainbow Dash's age in the season 4 episode with Weird Al.
With a number?
Yeah, she has 21 candles on her birthday cake.
That doesn't mean anything. That's like season. What is that? Like season 4?
Season 4.
That would mean that she started the show being 18 or 17.
In season
that doesn't make sense.
In season 3, they confirmed Twilight was in Playboy for only a year.
No, I refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that 3 seasons of that shit happened in 1 calendar year.
1 calendar year.
I refuse to fucking believe it. I absolutely refuse to believe it.
All right, back to Griffin the Brush Off.
Back to Griffin the Brush Off. The rest of this episode is basically a extended bit of pranks being pulled at Gilda's. I said Glinda. That's somebody else. At Gilda's expense, where she progressively gets angrier until she blows the fuck up and starts calling them all slurs.
She crashes the fuck out. And then Gilda.
She's a major crash out.
Wait, Gilda says the second funniest thing in this episode. Dash, you joshing me, huh?
Why did she say you're joshing me? Come on, man.
Because she's a New Yorker. She's a Manhattanite.
Hey, I'm fucking flying over here.
Yeah, I'm flying over here.
She does crash the hell out and call Pinky a lame ass loser for her stupid pranks, and then Dash is like, actually, I did that.
I did that to you. Pinky didn't.
And seeing the funniest part of that is that Rainbow Dash is like, it's just coincidentally that you are the one that happened to trigger every single prank. Like that wasn't a coincidence.
Pinky probably
intentionally orchestrated that to get her to crash out. I guess that's definitely what happened, right? And so when Pinky was like, I threw this party legitimately, like this wasn't a bit for me to try to get you to crash out. I threw this part legitimately because I thought you could use an attitude adjustment and maybe like if we had a party you could like chill out, maybe and like stop being insane. That was a lie.
This is where Pinky
baiting her to crash out.
This is where Pinky proves she is smarter than she lets on.
Yeah. Pinky was playing everybody, including Rainbow Dash. Gilda crashes out, and then it's revealed that her crash out directed at Pinky was unintentionally directed at Rainbow Dash, who's supposed to be her friend. And seeing absolutely no way to recover from that, she just doubles down on it and leaves. She
thought by this point Rainbow Dash was actually her partner, and like, all right, Dash, let's go.
Yeah, let's bust it. But she like. Wouldn't have worked. Even if it wasn't Rainbow Dash who did that stuff, still wouldn't have worked.
Yeah. So I wrote. Go ahead.
What? No, she crashed out
and
could not see a way back from that crash out, other than like getting on her fucking knees and committing seppuku. So she just fucking bounced, and we never saw her again. And then Rainbow Dash is like, "Hey guys, that sucked. I didn't realize that Gilda was such an asshole." Like, I don't know, I guess the implication of that line, I guess, is that Rainbow Dash had never seen Gilda like that. Like, Gilda only acts like that when Dash can't see her?
Yeah.
I guess that's true, actually, because she did go out of her way to make sure that Rainbow Dash was distracted every time she told Pinky to fuck off.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's a lot there, and I'm sure a lot of fanfiction.
There's a lot of toxic Yuri that has been written about Rainbow Dash and Gilda.
Uh-huh. Also, in several shots, Gilda has teeth, and I didn't like that.
Bird.
There are there are several shots where you can clearly see a full set of teeth in her beak.
I
did not like that.
I wrote down, the show confirms dragons are not mainly carnivorous. They never confirm griffins aren't.
Yeah, that's fine. She eats an apple, so she's the very least omnivorous at best.
Yeah,
I suppose. Dragons eat rocks.
Dragons eat rocks.
Dragons like rocks. Yes, I wrote down specifically. Gilda didn't learn shit and storms off.
And doesn't come back till season 5.
And it doesn't go back to season 5. Okay, that's all I have.
Oh, you want to take a little break here, get some water?
I'm fine actually. I feel like we're busted. We can take it. Wow, it's been an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can take a little break. We can take a break. Surely, I've got a drink though, so I'm all good.
I'll be back in like 3 minutes tops.
I will entertain the chat room.
Entertain chat.
I know we're not reading you guys' comments, by the way. I mean, I'm reading them, just not responding to all of them because that's not really how a podcast works, I suppose. Yeah, it's the podcaster's way. It's the podcaster's way. Gilda fumbled that shit so hard she just left, man. I think there's a couple like this happens a lot in No, I know, and I appreciate you guys interacting, you know, it's fun. Yeah, podcasters Bushido. Don't fuck up the sponsorship. What if I cut to an ad break? What if we cut to an ad break, but it was for shit that would just like we're not like just like nothing to do with us at all. Like what if I just cut to an ad for just like some shit that like we weren't actually being sponsored by it whatsoever, like not even a little bit. Where's Electrolyte Gamer subs? That's like some Uma Musume shit, man. Buy gold! Buy double gold! Buy gold! Invest in Pony!
Chocolate chips.
Pull up the wiki article on eBay toy scalping. That's that's fucking right.
We're actually sponsored by horse tranquilizers.
We're actually sponsored by. Can we get a sponsorship for the Uma Musume, like the English release?
God, I wish.
Arc System Works. Hit me up. Whoever the fuck is publishing that, I'm pretty sure it's Arc System.
I think Side Games might just be self-publishing it.
This is so off topic.
It's horse related.
We're gonna do like an April Fool's episode of the show, and it's just gonna do Uma Musume.
I would love where we just talk about Pretty Derby actually for the April Fool's joke.
Uh-huh.
All right.
All right, we're ready to.
We move on to.
Yeah, I think it's just Side Games.
We move on to season
Next
1, episode 6. The fan favorite of season 1. I agree.
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
Here's a fun fact before we dig into the plot of the episode. Everybody probably knows about this episode. This is, of course, where the great and powerful Trixie makes her fabulous debut into the show, catapulting her into fandom fame pretty much from the first time she opens her mouth.
The most famous fan character in the entire fandom.
Maybe, yeah, that may be true. Other than, like, I would say maybe only contested by, like, Vinyl and Octavia, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe. According to, I don't know if you found this out too, according to Lauren Faust on DeviantArt, the original version of this script called for a male antagonist. Did you know this?
Ooh.
Trixie's, the role that would become Trixie was originally intended to be a male character, but the writer of this episode, Chris Savino, changed the gender of the character when writing the script, and so we have him personally to thank for groundbreaking changes in our lives, and he has secured himself a place in heaven for doing so.
Hey! Don't worry. Trixie's 2 out of 3 colors of the trans flag. Good for her.
That's right. Good for her. I don't think like there was ever like any design or anything like related to this male version of Trixie. Just that I think the original like treatment called for a male antagonist, and Chris Savano, when actually charged to write the script himself, changed the character to be female. I don't know why he did that, but he had the mandate of heaven when he did so. As Trixie would, of course, like you said, go on to be one of the most famous side characters in all of My Little Pony, and probably like a top 3 Yuri pairing with Twilight Sparkle, at least until
Starlight comes
later
along,
developments in the show,
where she literally gets a girlfriend.
When somebody else would get Twilight's fucking sloppy ex.
They literally get season 6. They give
That's literally how they play it in that one episode.
They give Trixie a girlfriend and act like Trixie is Twilight's ex.
That's so literally like when they reintroduced Trixie for like the 3rd time, with Starlight. Okay, very quickly in like, what is it, season 6?
Season 6.
Something. Season 6. When Twilight is like Starlight Glimmer, my student who used to be a terrorist. You've learned a lot about friendship, and I think it's time you need to go out there and make a friend. You know, make a friend and bring this friend back to me, and I will judge your friend.
as my first decree as a deity, I'm going to judge your friend.
It's Starlight Glimmer picks up some dirty hoe on the street who happens to be the great and powerful Trixie and brings her ass back to the Crystal Castle. Twilight's like, really?
Her? Really?
It's one of the funniest episodes in the show where Twilight is like, I know that I told you that
to make a friend.
Pick a friend. I did not mean Trixie, actually. And Starlight's like, well, and she's like, why? He's like, well, Trixie's a bad person. And he's like, well, I used to be a bad person, and I'm not a bad person anymore, right? She's like,
oh dang, I goofed.
I can't. Fuck! You caught me. You caught me in a logical trap where I can't admit that I don't think Trixie can. I can't admit that I don't think Trixie's capable of being a good person without admitting that I don't think you're capable of being a good person.
Twilight doesn't like Trixie.
And Trixie and Twilight don't like each other, and they still don't like each other. And there's like several scenes in that episode where they clearly have like Starlight, who was not very elucidated on their past relations, definitely thinks that they used to date.
Yeah.
It's super awkward. Anyway,
we begin Ghostbusters with the first unicorn lore drop.
Oh yeah.
That unicorns learn magic related to their talent.
Yes, it seems the way that Spike and Twilight have a conversation about this. The episode opens with Twilight and like in media res, Twilight and Spike discovering that Twilight can perform at least 25 discrete spells. Which is extremely large quantity of spells for a unicorn, but by and large. Twilight and Spike had this conversation to elucidate to us that most unicorns are only capable of what Spike describes as a little magic.
Which we assume is
Twilight
which is like telekinesis and probably magic related to their talent.
Yeah, and Twilight further elucidates that most ponies only have magic. Most unicorns develop their magic in conjunction with their cutie mark. Did they actually say cutie mark, or just
they have not? They have
not yet clearly elucidated it. What did they use the phrase special talent?
Special talent, not cutie mark.
That's the phrase. So, for those of you who maybe don't remember or don't know, in the world of Friendship is Magic, every pony has a cutie mark, and that cutie mark designates what your quote unquote special talent is, which is sort of your calling in life or something.
Your literal tied down by fate and destiny.
Yeah, your destiny. Applejack is an apple. Rainbow Dash is gay. Rarity is also gay. Twilight is magic. I don't know. Anyway,
Which is the most busted talent you could ever have.
Yeah, and so Twilight was like, yeah, most ponies, most unicorns learn magic that is specifically relevant to their special talent, like baking or sewing or whatever the fuck. And she's like, but my special talent is magic itself. And so I'm unbelievably powerful.
I am God's favorite little girl.
Yeah. And also, she's literally the living embodiment of the element of magic.
Yeah.
So, this scene elucidates more clearly as to why Twilight Sparkle is so special that she's the personal student of our god queen, Celestia. Because her special talent literally is magic itself.
Yep.
Which will only be expanded on later in the future. The rub of this episode with Twilight is that she develops a humbleness that is unbecoming of a neurotic little freak like her.
It's part of her disorder.
She was having a weird day. I don't know. Usually Twilight's not a very humble person, to be honest with you.
She isn't.
She's in fact, I wouldn't say she's not like, she doesn't brag like Rainbow
She
Dash
likes
does,
to be
but
the smartest person in the room.
She likes to be the smartest person in the room because she usually is the smartest person in the room, and she's very self-assured. She's not necessarily a brag. Like Rainbow Dash's problem is that she brags too much.
Yes.
Like she talks that shit. Twilight doesn't talk that shit, but she's very self-assured that she is the smartest person in the room. This was literally her entire issue in the first 2 episodes, where she believed that she was the smartest person on Earth.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, and the only person who was able to see the Nightmare Moon crisis coming, which was fucking true, except for Celestia, who gamed her by using that to her own advantage.
Yeah.
But other than Celestia, no other pony on the planet knew or gave a shit the fact that the demon god was resurrecting tomorrow. So in this episode, the rub of it is because the moral lesson in this episode. What was the moral lesson last week? Did we have
last
a letter
week
to
is
Celestia last week?
Oh yes, there was. It was
Don't be a bitch.
the last week was fucking. I wrote it down. Like don't be two-faced to your friends.
Okay, whatever. Don't be an asshole. That's the rub. The moral of this episode is don't be a showboat, or don't
Proud of your
lie.
talents, but don't brag about it.
Don't brag about it. It's just it's a very fine line to draw, especially for kids.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this episode really communicated that very well, but it's fine. Because of the conceit of the episode, Twilight is uncharacteristically humble today. I don't know what exactly. Maybe she doesn't like being praised too much, and she got humble about it.
Yeah.
Because Spike was really on her ass all day about how cool she is.
Because he thinks his big sister's cool, which she is.
He does, because she is cool. But I think I'll give that conceit that she was being uncharacteristically humble today because Spike was really riding on her about how fucking cool she is.
We meet Snips and Snails.
Ah, boy. Yeah, Snips and Snails are the most prominent male characters in the show. Except for Spike.
Except for Spike and Big Mac.
I hate them. They don't show up a lot, to be honest.
They're relegated to being goons.
They're usually Cutie Mark Crusaders characters going forward, aren't they? They're more because they're in the same class as them, right? So they usually show up in Cutie Mark Crusader stories, I think.
That's when they show up.
They're usually gooning for Diamond Tiara or something.
Don't say that! Don't say that!
There's that Batman bit. He was gooning for the Riddler. Stop saying that.
Stop. Yeah, she uses them as goons later on during the newspaper episode.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, we haven't met them yet, so...
Great
powerful Trixie.
They tell Twilight there is a show in town about the greatest unicorn who ever lived.
And Spike's like, that's bullshit. I gotta see this shit.
And
that's crazy.
We are introduced to the great and powerful Trixie Lula Moon.
Not her name. That's not canon.
Listen, it is.
Actually, it is.
It is.
Well, it is on the merchandise. The great and powerful Trixie. Do you know when I first watched this episode way back in the day, I thought the rub, or the twist is that she wasn't actually a unicorn because you can't see her horn under the hat.
Oh my god, that'd be so funny.
I thought she was faking it, like the great powerful, like the Wizard of Oz. You know, like I thought she was doing like a Wizard of Oz bit where she was faking using magic. Not what happened. She takes her hat off like 2 minutes later.
Trixie is she is a stage magician.
You know, she's not a stage magician. She's a professional hater.
She's a professional hater.
When I watched this bit of the episode, I've realized that Trixie doesn't do this for money. She doesn't do this for no other reason than just to hate. She goes from town to town hating on motherfuckers for no damn reason. Because that's her job. What really kills me about this episode in general is I don't think this episode's very good. I think it's really fun, and I love Trixie, of course.
I love Trixie.
This episode, like, they start heckling her as soon as she gets in the door. Like, she draws a crowd in, like, the center square, and she's doing her magic tricks and stuff, and
they start
just, like,
heckling her.
They just start heckling her for, like, she didn't even do anything, man. All she did was call herself cool and, like, do magic tricks. Like, based on what Twilight just said, the fact that she's able to do multiple kinds of magic and make those fireworks and stuff is relatively impressive.
I mean, we do learn that it's all sleight of hand later on, but
but that's her talent. She's a stage
that's
magician.
her talent. She's
Twilight,
a stage magician. Yeah.
Twilight is an academic, right? Like Trixie's on some Bill Nye the Science Guy shit. Actually, I don't want to say that to discredit Bill Nye the Science Guy, but like, she's doing stage magic. Like, she's not doing academic research on the values of magic and how they could benefit our society. She's she's pulling rabbits out of hats and shit.
Yeah.
Right? There's no reason to heckle her.
She is literally here to entertain.
Rarity and Applejack immediately take an attitude against Trixie's existence because she, like, calls herself Great Powerful Trixie.
I love how we're both so pro Trixie.
I am pro Trixie up until a certain point where she goes too far. But, like, she just, like, a performer comes to town and she gets immediately heckled for doing her job. Like, she didn't do anything wrong. She's just here, man. She didn't do anything wrong.
She does say naysayers, which is funny.
After they start heckling her.
Yeah.
Like, they're like heckling her at like talking volume, so she probably doesn't hear them. And then Twilight, who's immediately feeling self-conscious about her ability to do magic, it's like, do you guys think Trixie's a bitch because she can do magic really cool? And Applejack says something about how, like, she thinks she's better than us or whatever, and Rainbow Dash chimes in, is like, yeah, she couldn't be better than us because I'm better than everybody.
This is my conceit with this episode. They complain about Trixie being a showboat, and just Rainbow Dash does this her whole life for the rest of the series.
Yeah. And they don't like it when she does it either.
They don't like it when she does it either, to be fair. That is right. That is correct.
When we get to the fucking night of what's that? It's a superhero episode. Mare Duel, the Mare Duel episode. When they just put her through the ringer because she got a little too boastful about saving a child from death. She got a little too in her head about it, and they just put her through torture for like a week just to teach her a lesson about shutting the hell up. They hate when she does it.
Oh.
Anyway, and then Dash boos Trixie loudly because she's trying to cover her own ass because Applejack gave her a look. And that's when she says naysayers. And then it very quickly deteriorates from there.
Or Trixie just pulls pranks on them.
Where Trixie just fucking gets on stage and is like, I dare you. No, that's not what happens, actually. Rainbow Dash goes up to the stage and gets in Trixie's face about it. For no reason. She's literally just doing her job. But like the funny part is that this clearly happens to Trixie a lot because she was not phased to this at all. It's like she expected this to happen, or that she wanted it to happen. My imagination is that she wanted it to happen, and she intentionally like riles up a crowd to get somebody to confront her so she can embarrass them in front of other people.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think that she charged admission for this show, so I think she's just doing this to hate. I think she's just a professional hater.
It might be the way how like classic traveling shows work, where like they get the show and then they pass around a donation box. Like, hey, throw
Nobody
me...
is gonna be donating. Maybe people paid to see Applejack and Rainbow Dash eat shit. Actually, I can imagine that.
Yeah.
I know the town's sick of those motherfuckers. But she did. Rainbow Dash got in her face, and then she incited Rainbow Dash into like fighting her, and then she embarrassed her. Well, she embarrassed Applejack, and she embarrassed Rainbow Dash, and then she embarrassed Rarity. And then she was like, "I'm sick of this shit. Goodbye."
Goodbye. And then Snips and Snails like sent for her.
I did write a note that's like, does Trixie go to small town and harass the low intelligence population?
I mean, we were like, yeah, Ponyville has like 800 people tops living here.
And they're all dumb. We're in the sticks out here, man.
Yeah. And
I mean, she's also washed up, but
yeah, later on, Spike is still getting on Twilight on her ass about not showing off, and Twilight says, "I'm not special," and I wrote down, "You are! You're a bearer of harmony!
You're literally the most specialist girl in the world! That's a fact! You're God's favorite child!
You are Celestia picked you to be her protege."
And nobody else, and don't ever ask me about what happened to the protege before you.
We'll get into her in season 3.
Don't ever ask me what happened to the last protege who failed me. Do you think she ever hit her with that line?
Oh my god, absolutely.
Twilight, like, you know, like teenager Twilight was acting up, and she's like, Twilight, don't ever make me tell you what happened to Starlight.
Don't Sunset Shimmer. You don't know what you don't want to know what happened to her.
You don't want to know. Have you ever heard of Sunset Shimmer? No, I haven't. It fucking exactly. Now go to bed. Like, she was definitely like making thinly veiled threats. Twilight to get her to like behave when she was like 14. You know,
the way Twilight acts about Celestia in this season, she probably fully expects Celestia to like punish her and send her to hell.
Twilight, like, Celestia went overboard like with it when she was younger, and now she's just like scared of it. Like, boy, I actually wouldn't believe that Twilight had a teenage rebellion phase at all. I couldn't possibly believe that, to be honest.
She was a good girl from the very beginning.
She was a good girl for her whole life, which is why, as an adult, she's neurotic.
Yeah, exactly.
She never had an opportunity to get that out of her brain when she was like 16.
Yeah.
And so now we're all paying for it because now she's like 32 years old and like opening portals to hell in Ponyville.
Literally. Okay. We get to what the issue of this episode is, where Snips and Snails get the bright idea to go get a monster for Trixie to fight.
The Everfree, I presume. Trixie, this is where Trixie loses the mandate of heaven.
Yeah.
She had it when she entered Ponyville for some reason. When she brags to Rainbow Dash about having slain an Ursa Major.
Yep.
Just full bullshit, right? Just straight bullshit. If that's where she loses the mandate, because it's fine for her to go up there and like exaggerate her abilities for like effect, but she's just straight bullshitting out there, right? Like, there is no such reality where she did that. And Snips and Snails are like, huh. Oh, Snips and Snails are like, tell us about the Ursa Major. And she's like, go away.
Get the fuck out of here.
And Spike comes by, and he's like, guys, you know she's full of shit, right? Like, there's no way she did that. Unless you see her actually do it with your own eyes, I wouldn't believe a thing she says. And he waddles off to do whatever Spike does all day. And they're like, huh. You know, Spike's kind of spitting on that one. Let's go.
Let's go into the forest full of monsters nearby.
And poke a fucking giant bear, which they do. And the giant bear comes out, rampages through town. They call Trixie, and they're like, "All right, Trixie, go fight this giant bear." She's like,
I would like to point out this is like a literal kaiju-sized bear.
It's like the size of like Town Hall. Like,
This is something fucking Ultraman would fight.
It's a very large monster. And Trixie does her best and doesn't win because she never learned how to do ki blasts.
And Twilight literally has to step in to stop from Ponybill getting flattened.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I wrote a note here. Fluttershy could have no-shotted this.
Yeah.
Fluttershy could have no-diffed this. Why are we calling Twilight for? Twilight gonna do? I mean, she did it.
Because it's Twilight's episode.
If I saw a giant bear rampaging through town, I would call Fluttershy.
Yeah, literally.
I wouldn't call fucking Captain Neurosis over there. I would call Fluttershy the animal whisperer.
Like, hey.
We saw her tame a Manicore 2 weeks ago.
Oh, and Twilight. This episode was written for Twilight, but yes, I agree. Fluttershy could have solved this easy.
I'm just saying. Fluttershy was on a date. She was right there, actually. It was her day off, you know.
This is where they show that Twilight's telekinesis is like
God tier.
Stupidly strong.
She milks a bunch of cows and gives the bear a bottle.
She lifts a bear that is easily at least several hundred tons.
Size of a building.
Size of a building.
And flings it gently, like at least a mile or two out of town back to the cave they found it in. And then Spike was like, "Holy shit, that was so fucking awesome, dude. So you really can beat an Ursa Major." And she's like, "That was an Ursa Minor, dude. That
was a baby." Then they showed like a bigger bear inside the cave.
Yeah, like 10 times bigger bear holding the smaller bear. Trixie's like, "That was a baby?" Like, I mean, her number was up at that point.
This is where I wrote, Equestria is so scary to live if this is just out here.
Yeah, well, she was like, and by the way, it wasn't rampaging, it was just mad because Dumb and Dumber woke it up.
Mm-hmm.
You leave them alone, they'll leave you alone. Only you can prevent forest fires. And then Trixie runs herself out of town.
Yeah, Trixie throws a smoke bomb and runs away.
It's a really good bit where you can clearly see her running away.
Yeah.
Trixie, just like Gilda before her, doesn't learn anything and doesn't apologize.
Which is what they're going to show with a lot of villains that don't get exploded by the rainbow beam.
Blames Ponyville for her problems, I think, and throws a smoke bomb and runs away, and we never see her again for 2 seasons.
2 seasons.
Stupid, silly episode. I think the episode script would have been a little bit stronger if they had more like crowd or like background ponies giving an indication of what the rest of the town felt about Trixie. Were they on her side? Do they like her? Was everybody mad that she was there? Did nobody want her to be there?
Yeah, it's weird. It's something.
Trixie herself carries that episode mostly because she's so funny. And thankfully we'll get a lot more Trixie down the line to sort of like smooth over this kind of rough first outing for her character. She doesn't really have a character. She's a very one-dimensional villain, of course, in this episode, just like Gilda before her.
And the writers realize that she is a fan favorite, and she gets so much characterization later on.
Yeah, the next time she shows up, she gets a lot more to do and say, and then, of course, after that, she becomes a relatively reoccurring character. Never really a main cast member or anything
She is above side character. She is a supporting character.
Yeah, she's what we would call her supporting cast.
She is Spike level.
To say that, yeah, she doesn't show much of Spike, though, does she?
I would relegate Spike to being a supporting character.
Well, he shows up pretty much every episode, though. But
yeah,
he's a main cast member to me.
That's fair.
That's my little boy. I would put Trixie, like later Trixie, on the level of like Shining Armor and Cadence, where like they show up occasionally, but have like fully fleshed out like characters and like shit like that, or like their non-pony friends in like season 6 going forward.
Trixie is there for almost every Starlight episode later on.
Yeah, she is. She is very distinctly Starlight Glimmer's girlfriend.
Yep.
And only supporting cast member who is not one of the main 6 or an already established character, or Celestia and Luna.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, no, that's not true. Starlight also has her loser nerd wizard friend.
Her fucking nerd friend from her childhood that made her go evil.
Oh, man, what a... We can't get into that right now. We so can't. That's... What a guy. I hate that fucking dude so much, actually.
He's such a nothing character.
He's such an insane person. He is incredibly insane. But that's, what?
This episode was fine. You could say it was bad. It introduced Trixie, which was good.
The episode itself on its own, not that good. The what this episode will do going forward, very good.
Yes.
This episode will change the course, like many episodes in season 1, will not necessarily change because there was no course yet. It will define the course going forward for the fandom, in terms especially of Trixie and her importance in fan works and such not.
I guess we can get into like fandom history now, going off of that. Almost every early fanfic Equestria Daily covers is about Trixie.
That's so awesome.
I was scrolling through like some of the earlier entries from January, which is January 2011, which is when it begins. Every other fanfic I pass by is about Trixie.
Is it like... Yeah, that sounds about right. Probably a lot of like Trixie backstory fix, what happens to Trixie afterwards fix, Trixie redemption fix,
Trixie shipping
Yuri,
fix with Twilight.
Trixie shipping fix with Twilight. I don't think... You know what? I don't think Twilight and Trixie even talk to each other in this episode.
They don't. They say one thing to another at the end of the episode.
Oh boy, I didn't think about that until just right now. I just ran through the whole episode in my head. It was like they don't even acknowledge each other. I mean, obviously Twilight acknowledges Trixie quite a bit, but Trixie doesn't even know who Twilight is.
The fandom, the Trixie's later characterization comes from how the fandom made her Twilight's rival.
Yes. Well, her self-described rival.
Her self-described rivalry.
In most fan fictions, and indeed in the season 3 episode where Trixie will return in canon, she blames Twilight Sparkle for her problems instead of the fact that she... If anything, she should blame Snips and Snails. But she blames Twilight Sparkle for her issues instead of... looking inwards or having any semblance of, self-reflection.
Well, that's because Trixie's perfect and can do no wrong.
That's the thing is that is true, and Twilight is not any of those things. But that is the tone of most Trixie fan fictions going forward, is that she blames Twilight Sparkle, and that is the direction that the staff, because they were aware of that or not, chose to go forward with for her season 3 outing as well. I don't think at that point... I'm trying to remember, where the staff, were staff allowed to view fan works? I don't think they strictly were allowed to do so at that time. I don't think they could avoid it, but...
It's just because of how prominent it was.
Yeah, I feel like I remember there being a specific point where they were like, we are not allowing the writing team to interact with the fandom anymore because we don't want that cross-pollinating.
I think that happened around season 5, season 6.
I think it did. I think that was a later issue. Yeah, I think it did. So clearly they were taking some level, I would say, of inspiration from the fandom in regards to.
You can very much see, seasons 2 through 4. You can easily see how much the fandom influenced the show.
Yeah, and that's a good thing and a bad thing in some degrees. It's never really a good idea to listen to your fans. At least, it's a very complicated issue, and it would definitely in the long term, I think it didn't work out so well, which is why they had to implement that ban and why we got that one episode where the writers were clearly just taking swings at the fandom.
They were
Um,
they're so mad at them in season 7.
but that's because like the fandom really started to turn on them around that time too.
Mhm.
So I don't that whole relationship just ended up being very toxic, which is why because of that as a rule, I think it generally is a bad idea to get that close to your fandom. You know, there should be a very long arm distance between the creators and their fans, lest we do all that stupid nonsense. But yeah, that is generally the consensus with Trixie around that time was. Um, did you just make that right now?
Maybe.
Did you just make that right now? Can you put that on like
Maybe.
like the image board? There was like a meme board. You just post memes. I can't remember what it was called. You could just leave the Trixie didn't do nothing wrong. Period.
It's true. Nothing. Period. Nothing.
Didn't do a damn thing wrong. This is how Starlight was trying to defend her when Twilight was like, "You got to get this hell out of my house." Like, Trixie didn't do anything wrong, actually. That is the general consensus of fandom going forward at that time. So there was a big fascination with Trixie. Like I said, I think besides Derpy, I think Trixie was the first big hit.
She absolutely was.
Fandom, which is funny because again, that episode kind of sucked.
It went to show how much like the show exploded. Just like the episode, like 15 years later, we think, yeah, the episode was pretty mid, but Trixie, yeah, a hit.
Yeah, it's because like when. Like last time and when we were making the schedule for this week, it was like, oh yeah, we have to watch the Trixie episode. The only thing I remembered about this episode was that it was good because Trixie was in it. And then when I watched it, I was like, man, this sucks.
I had the same reaction.
So like that's really all that matters, frankly, is that, you know, at that time we were really good. Like that, you know, in retrospect, the only thing we remember is the good stuff. Which was that Trixie was pretty cool.
And the writers did, I would say, she had the best one of the best character arcs in the show.
She sure did. She had a good design too. It goes a long way.
It really does.
It goes a very, very, very long way to helping endear you to a character if their design is really good.
It sucks we're so early in the show because most of it has been lost. Most of the fandoms has been lost to time on 4chan.
Yeah, and that's a good thing and a bad thing.
It's a good thing and a bad thing because Equestria Daily does not begin until January of 2011, which is 3 months after the show's beginning.
Yeah, so we're still not quite there yet. We're only 6 weeks in.
Yep.
I'm just kind of scrolling errantly through the Trixie tag on Derpy Boo right now, and I've seen more than a few images of her and Luna.
Oh, yeah.
What the hell is up with that?
I think that was a really early fandom ship because her in merchandise, her last name was Lula Moon.
Oh yeah, that's right. Ooh, that's suggestive. Okay. Well, I clicked on it, so I guess
Yeah,
that's
you clicked on it. There is porn on Derpy Buru.
It wasn't porn. It was just, you know, I wanted to see what it was. You know, there's a door that's closed. I want to see what's behind the door.
Yeah.
Here I'm looking at. Oh, you have to look at this.
Please share.
It's art of Twilight as Ryu from Street Fighter, and Trixie as Kyo Kusagari from King of Fighters.
What?
Yeah. Hold on.
Alright, just gonna click on that there. Oh, that rules, actually!
When was this posted? Hold on.
This was posted 13 years ago.
Oh, jeez. Why are there multiple... Why are there like 100, like 200 plus entries for King of Fighters on Derpy Buru?
Well...
What the hell, y'all... Man, people were just doing anything back then, man.
People...
Oh, okay, some of these are King of Fighters 2000. How does this? This is one of the older chaos with a character editor or a color editor, and it's just people making color palette swaps of characters with pony color palettes. That's really great.
That's great.
That's really great. Oh God, Brave.
Bless you. Bless you.
Thank you. That's crazy. What else was good? I mean, I feel like the era hasn't changed much because it's only been a few weeks in real time since the beginning of the show, and so a lot of what we talked about last time, in terms of like early fandom, still currently applies to where we're standing now.
Yep.
The crux really of this week's batch of episodes is truly that Trixie made big waves, big waves in the fandom, and would go on to sort of define that era of that show. Hold on, there's one more thing I want to.
Please share.
Do you remember these? Hold on. Do you remember these like super simplistic, like artistically simplistic wallpapers?
The fandom fucking loved the lineless, simplified art.
The lineless stuff, yeah, the lineless stuff. Wallpaper bait, if you like to call it that.
Wallpaper bait.
Why does Trixie's cape have its own tag on Derpy Buru?
I don't know.
And why are so many of these images suggestive?
Because people wanted to fuck that horse.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. It's all the same image, actually. Just like minor edits of like the same image. Oh, there's another one.
Oh,
okay.
all this early art of Trixie is either her with Twilight or her doing cool magic shit.
Yeah, it's...
Which we know she cannot do.
Which she can't do. Yeah. It's a lot of... Yeah, it's a lot of... You know... This is definitely prior to an era where there were Baroni, like, artists. Because, again, this is only 6 weeks into the show. And even then, I don't think, like, as a wider Brony culture emerged within, you know, about a year after the show was on the air, you know, people started to carve out the niche of them being an artist dedicated to making art of My Little Pony. That didn't really exist quite yet. I don't really know when that started exactly, but hey, get that shit. Come on now. Let's see some modern Trixie art. Wait, I got a better idea. Actually, I can search by like upvotes and see like what's some of the most popular Trixie art out there.
Ooh, you're right.
Okay, Carmel Denson, that's great. Okay, that's nothing really. Some of these are like not anything. Okay, that makes sense. A lot of ship art with her and Starlight.
Yep. That vastly overtook the Twi-Trix ship.
It definitely killed Twi-Trix forever. I'm led to believe. They gave her a canon like, oh god, it's the SFM pony models. I hate these damn things.
They're not the best models.
They're scary.
They were released.
They scare me.
And no one ever improved upon them.
Nobody ever improved upon them, man. They were just stuck like that forever. I recognize some of these artists. Some of this I can't show on stream.
Yeah.
Huh? A lot of large boobies here.
Yeah. Yeah, on the Boober website?
It's the pony. I guess that's just how we've chosen to humanize, and that's about humanize ponies, like how general interpretations of the characters went. I feel like there was never really a very distinctly like. I don't think there was ever a singly dominant humanization of the characters, especially in terms of like outfits. I think probably the most. I'm trying to think like the most prominent like features you could possibly attribute across the board. A lot of people drew Twilight with darker skin for some reason.
I think that just caught on.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I still
I'm
like
pretty
it.
sure
I
it's
don't
like
really
just
know why it caught on.
one popular artist drew her that way, and the rest of
Yeah.
fandom just picked up on it.
Yeah. Some people did draw Twilight with darker skin. A lot of people did.
Derpy Burrow.
Yeah, you know what?
Show me beautiful transgender mares, Derpy Burrow.
Yes, show me. I can't really think of anything now that I've put the topic on the table. I can't really think of any defining, like, all-encompassing character traits that they were given to the human version of the characters. After a certain point, people also when Equestria Girls came out,
Yep.
a lot of people just settled on
What those were.
colored skin. Like,
Which we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that.
you know, it could have been worse. Generally
I
speaking.
there's a lot to be said about Equestria Daily, and we will not be getting to that until at least next year.
Thank God.
Equestria Girls.
Equestria Girls, yeah. I'm still just like scrolling down this list. He's a picture of Luna and Celestia, or Trixie and Celestia. That's funny.
Gosh, I love early fandom. It's so good.
That's really good stuff.
It feels almost innocent knowing what comes later.
We're not even at the good part yet.
We're not. We're not even at to where the show explodes in popularity. We're a few weeks off from that.
We're still a few weeks off from. I would consider that explosion to be when Equestria Daily is formally founded. I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But there's several ways to that. Artists that specialize in MLP art or carbonated artists that receive specialist V2 art. I'm sure that that's many a case. There are many prominent members of the Brony community who are now currently VTubers.
Yeah.
Not just us. That's not a really available to us. I mean, like, big name VTubers.
Like fucking
whose names I will.
We'll get to them
What are you
later.
gonna say?
I mean, we're literally gonna we're gonna talk about her next episode.
Is that next episode?
Yeah, the Zecora ep is next episode.
Fuck. Oh boy, I'm super not ready for that.
Oh.
No, next. Okay, wait. Let me see what the next episodes. The next 3 episodes are Dragon Shy, Look Before You Sleep, and Bridal Gossip. Fuck.
Yep.
That's what a winger of a 3-part episodes. Next week we're gonna have a lot to talk about.
Hey y'all, we're get ready for next week. We're getting into a lot.
What a winger of a 1, 2, 3 fucking knockout. The first Fluttershy episode, the fucking Rare Jack episode,
and then the introduction of Zecora
and Bridal Gossip. The racism episode.
The one of many racism episodes.
Yep. And then, oh wow, and then the 3 after that, we'll finally get to meet the Cutie Marker series.
The 3 after that will finally.
We're starting to get. I mean, we're not there yet, but we're starting to get into the good episodes.
We are.
Oh boy.
Well, look forward to next week, folks.
Look forward to next week. Yeah, not right now.
Do you have any closing thoughts?
I don't. With the majority that was taken up by Trixie, and we've run out of things to say about Trixie.
I got no. That was the only history I wanted to touch on.
Yeah, like I said,
we're still too early in the era for there to be too much to talk about, and we went over a lot of that fandom history last week
Mm-hmm.
or last episode, and so that's just kind of what it's gonna be for a while.
Oh, well,
We'll have a lot to talk about next time, though.
we will. I have no closing remarks. You don't, I believe.
My last closing remark is that we will be recording the next episode next week instead of 2 weeks from now. Typically,
Yes.
we are generally going to be on a bi-weekly schedule, but due to my other bi-weekly schedule is getting preempted next week, and so we will be recording again next Sunday instead of 2 weeks from now.
Hell yeah. Well,
just to say,
I still do not have a slogan for the podcast.
Yeah, we didn't have a slogan. Go read some Twilight Trixie fanfiction.
Go do that right now.
Go do that right now.
All right, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good afternoon.
Bye bye.